Hit it! Woo! Come on! Here we go! Yo, guys, check it out! Guess what happened to me?
Another crazy story? Come on, AC.
I was hanging at the court, just playing some ball, working on my game.
Yeah, we heard it all.
I heard the fans screaming. I thought it was for me, but then I saw a shadow. It was 12 for 3. It was Shaquille O'Neal.
What? What did he say?
How about some one-on-one? You wanna play?
I told him why not. I got some time, but when I beat you real bad, try not to cry.
Please, Aaron, are you for real? One-on-one with Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah, 34 center from the LA Lakers.
You must have been nervous.
I knew I could take him. Stared at Shaq, psych him out. Said, O'Neal, you're in my house now. Start the game, the whistle blows. Pay attention close, as the story goes. It's like boom! I put it in the hoop like slam. I heard the crowd screaming out jam. I swear that I'm telling you the facts, cause that's how I beat Shaq. Boom! I put it in the hoop like slam. I heard the
Boom, everyone.
Slam, everyone.
It's time to slam. It's time to jam.
I thought I had the lead, but then he starts
What else is there to do? What else are we up to today?
Was he hitting all the shots?
Jamming would be good.
I already said jam.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm so into the song, I can't.
Oh, sorry. Here, let me just...
Oh, no, it's so loud. Stop it, Aaron, stop
Okay,
it.
he's
You're a liar.
okay. I don't want to spoil it, but he does keep playing, and he does... The song is called How I Beat Shaq, so I guess that kind of spoils it from the beginning.
Lying motherfucker. I've seen Aaron Carter. I've seen him.
Yeah, he hasn't had a great honesty record. Honesty record in the fucking trash. Sorry, Aaron, you're canceled. Canceled, buddy.
Cancel culture hasn't gone
None
too
of that.
far when we've taken down Aaron Carter.
All right, here's the part of the stream where I have to check if our voices are actually coming through. Oh yeah. Aaron, you're canceled. Wait, do you tell?
Done good. Cancel culture.
Yeah, you're in there. All right. It's working this time. That's great. That's all I need. Howdy, everybody.
Hey.
What have you been up to since are you recovering from summer?
I have watched an ungodly amount of Friday Night Lights.
Oh, wow. Oh,
It's a
okay.
problem.
Are you watching with your good buddy? Is Taylor Kitsch on the couch next to you being like,
No,
yeah, in this scene, you can
Taylor's
see my
not with me
nipples.
First of all, he's tremendous. He's tremendous in the show.
Yeah.
It's over the span of 6 or 7 days, I've seen probably 35 episodes. And they're 40. These
It's
are
very
not short
watchable.
episodes.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so long since I've seen it. Like, I was enthralled with it when I was like, 11. But is it like more corny now, but still fun, or is it actually enthralling drama?
Simultaneously, both. It's actually
great.
exactly what you want. It rides the line beautifully.
Excellent.
Where it is like, if you watch a lot of it in quick succession, it's very easy to start to see through it and realize that it's just a really, really well done soap opera. But there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with
Not at
just
all.
a perfectly executed soap opera.
No. Oh no, our linebacker's paralyzed, or is he? I think he.
You're gonna make. Listen to me. You're gonna make it in that league. You're going all the way.
Lens flare.
You're the best damn linebacker I've ever seen play on this field.
But you fucked my
Make a
daughter.
liar out of me.
There has to have been like 9 seasons of that, right?
There are 5. There are 5
Okay.
seasons.
All right.
And I am deep into the 4th season, and it is still just as good. I cannot believe it. It's really an issue.
Yeah,
What
wasn't
else?
Taylor
What else?
Taylor Kitsch was like the real kind of dirtbag, but he was really good, but he just didn't give a fuck, right?
It's exactly right.
Okay.
It's exactly right. I can't believe you have seen this show.
Well, my parents watched a lot of it, and I was just sort of on the couch, hanging out.
Yeah, it's really something. Not much else really going on in my life other than that. I'm just watching a whole lot of Friday Night Lights.
I don't remember a lot about that show except for there's one episode where they have like a team roast, and they do a comedy roast of each other. And
I don't know if I'm there yet.
And like some of them are funny, and then one of the players gets up there and he's like, "Hey, give it up to what's his face for sleeping with the coach's daughter."
Oh yes, yeah, that's the first season.
And everyone's like,
that's
"Oh,
Taylor Kitsch, yeah.
it's a good ass bit."
Yeah, it keeps happening. It keeps happening throughout the show. Like they just end up with like Are you kissing my daughter in my driveway? Are you having sex with my daughter under my roof in my house?
How many dudes fuck that daughter?
Just the one.
Oh, okay.
Just the one. My number one celeb crush right now is Kyle Chandler. I'm not saying I would fuck Kyle Chandler, but I would definitely let him come in my ass.
Okay, so you wouldn't. Oh wow, that's a you're a mature fetish, huh?
I will spread it and let it go into my ass.
Oh no!
But he's not allowed to puncture it.
Why him? Why? I mean, he's a handsome fella, but
he's so wise. He's so wise.
That is true. He is very wise.
He fixes everybody's lives and lifts everyone around him up, and a leader.
Is that the Is that the actor's name or the character?
Kyle Chandler is the actor.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just wondering if you would, because you can have a. There he is. Yeah. Look at that unbuttoned shirt. Look at that hair. Man. Yeah.
What else? What else is going on in my life?
I had a 20-minute conversation with a girl yesterday, and now my month is ruined.
Is it a new work girl?
Yes, intern.
Was it a good conversation?
Fuck you got me, man. You think I have the perception to figure that out?
What did you talk about?
She just kept asking me questions, and I don't know. I just know I'm gonna. That's my thing. I'm gonna be doing now. Is just thinking like, why was she?
What kind of questions? I've
about
spoken to girls
my life.
Semi recently. Okay.
I've spoken to girls semi recently.
Displaying interest in you as a person, huh?
Yes, I think.
I think that means she wants to fuck.
Okay.
Next time you have a conversation with her, go in for a kiss.
I'll literally never. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, you sound like an ex. Yeah, that seems like sound, solid advice from a smart girl man.
I am your Tim Riggins. I am the dirtbag that with a heart of gold that's giving you bad advice. And
I welcome it.
Well, okay, so she was asking you questions about you. It sounds like small talk. You need to start slipping in lewd things in all your conversations.
Oh yeah,
especially
to a coworker. Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah. If I know anything about working in an office, it is that slightly sexual comments are totally okay. But then you have to work your way up to patting her on the butt,
Right.
Room shit.
Yeah, because I know exactly who in my department is riding the line of sexual harassment, and I think as long as I keep it right under him, I should be good, right? As long as he's not fired.
Are you friendly with HR?
I've never met them.
Good. That means that you don't exist to them.
Great, excellent.
I just got a really creepy comment from this guy Declan. Who? We have a Declan that works.
Yeah,
here?
we didn't have no records. We went to this work outing, and I usually don't go to those, but a guy asked me if I wanted to go, and I panicked and said yeah, because I wasn't sure if it was the kind of thing that was mandatory or if people would get mad if I wouldn't go or whatever. So I had no idea if you were supposed to go or not. So I ended up going, and I got there. And a lady asked who I was, and they go, he's been here for 3 years.
There you go. It's like Office Space.
It's great.
It's, yeah. I mean, I have a really bad track record of fucking coworkers. So
bad meaning none or a lot.
According to HR, it would be bad.
Okay, HR wouldn't appreciate that.
Oh my god! I don't know if I've ever told you about this, but
oh no.
I slept with one girl.
Yeah.
Fuck.
A coworker.
I've slept with one of my coworkers. Yeah.
Oh, one of your current, or no? This in a previous job.
This is at the job that I left.
Okay.
Slept with one of my coworkers, and then things kind of cooled down there, and I'm like, all right. And then I slept with another of my coworkers, and then they became friends, and then found out that I had slept with both of them. And it made things very uncomfortable, but they're both still there. I'm not.
Well, good for them. The only thing I know about my HR people is that when I was going through orientation, they gave a presentation about all the guidelines, and like about 5 minutes after the dude got done with the section about not doing inappropriate workplace innuendo, he went off on a tangent about how good his husband is at twerking. And I feel like that's just sort of the most prototypical HR thing you could possibly manifest in the world. I felt like I was in a fever dream. I was like, did I create this? Is this a straw reality that my brain has made?
The at the job that I was just talking about, HR was also the general manager of the store. So
I feel like there might be a conflict of interest there. It's probably fine though. I don't know.
You know what? Like consider what I've done. That is a minor transgression as far as that business is concerned. Like we've had there were like dozens of employees that left because this one dude was just on a tear. He was just on a sexual harassment rampage.
That's how you want to do it if you're going to do sexual harassment. You just got to commit.
It's how you create a culture of sexual harassment, I think.
You don't want to be passive aggressive with your sexual harassment. Like kind of on off, you know.
This is unrelated, but it's like on the topic of sex stuff. Obviously, we're in no way affiliated and have no vested interest in the success.
Uh-oh. You there?
Hello.
You there?
I'm here.
Okay. I think I did that thing where I cut out for 12 seconds about.
Okay.
That's going to be fun.
Here we
in
go.
The recording.
Andrew Yang, Democratic primary candidate.
Yeah, you said he should advertise on Pornhub.
Yes. He should go to every corner of the internet and start advertising there. And I think he would have a more successful campaign. He's catering to a specific group, but he needs to go further.
Sorry, Mage, we're back. I think. Wait, let's check the status. Yeah, it looks fine. Yeah, I don't know. He disavowed the meme machine, so he's fucked. I'm done with him.
Mage just mentioned that he is deep into Final Fantasy 14. It seems
apparently
like
everyone is.
We're gonna lose a generation. It's gonna happen again. It's gonna.
World of Warcraft was like basically an opioid epidemic for about 6 or 7 years there.
Serious problem.
People just died because they stopped peeing. You know, left their baby in a microwave.
And I mean, the thing is now is that these people playing Final Fantasy 14 have way less responsibilities, so they can get away with it for longer.
Yeah, no, damn, it's probably real good. I wish I could play something, but yeah, Sam asked me to play. I was like, no, get it away.
You're scared of it taking over your life?
Terrified. I gotta finish games. I gotta finish Dark Souls. I gotta play Metal Gear Rising.
Oh, dude, yeah,
I heard it's okay.
Finally, this is my last update on my life at this point.
Sure.
So obviously a lot of Friday Night Lights.
Give us the deets.
More importantly, I'm finally at the point in Sailor Moon where there is a second Sailor Scout.
Wow.
Finally, we got her, Mercury. She's here.
You're finally 8 episodes in.
Yeah. But it's still just as enjoyable. I am watching. I kind of find myself wishing I was watching the terrible dub now. Because there's a lot more of the friend character than I had anticipated.
Yeah.
And her voice actress is just amazing, and the other one.
Yeah, they provide different nostalgic experiences for sure. Did you know the movie we watched today had a dub?
I did, because the totally legitimate copy that I watched had an English audio track that I immediately turned off.
Oh, okay. I watched the first 20 minutes or so as the dub. It wasn't bad enough to keep going or grab sound effects or anything. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
But yes, we did watch a movie today.
It's movie day, motherfuckers. Motherfucker. Still. Yeah, we decided to find a movie, and we landed on Colorful Karafudu.
Yes.
2010. 2010, not my best year.
What?
Not great for this guy either. Yeah, 2010. Directed by Hara Keiji. He did a bunch of Doraemon and Crayon Shin-chan movies, I think.
That explains the I don't know if I want to give up the ghost here, but kind of explains the mental state of this film and the maturity in which everything's delivered.
Um,
You're making stuff for literal children.
it's a yeah, I don't know. This is a family drama, but it's like it's one of those anime movies that's like barely anime because it's because it's like a grounded family drama, kind of like Mirai, almost there. Mirai was a bit more fantastical in anime,
Yes.
but this is one of those things where it's like this is animated, but it's just kind of a movie. Sunrise though, Sunrise they do Gandamu.
Yes.
Sunrise and Ascension, who did a lot of Duel Masters, I guess.
Hold on.
Duel Masters is not Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
No, Duel Masters is a separate. Duel Monsters is Yu-Gi-Oh.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. This is based on a novel by Eto Mori, a novel from 1998. Eto Mori was the lady who wrote Dive. Remember Dive?
No.
Remember Dive? Remember Dive?
Is Dive the free ripoff thing?
Yeah, the anime they made a couple years ago.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I do remember.
That was
Dive.
based on a novel by this lady.
So this is diving. It's
What?
So this is diving.
Oh, is that a line from the show that you remember?
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's they
I'm
probably
sure
say. So there's probably a shot where there definitely was a shot where he sees dudes diving and goes,
Of course.
Yeah,
Yes.
For sure.
It's very much one of those pieces of
it
media.
has to be. And yeah, this is a movie. I don't know what's colorful in the movie. It's not about that. But what I don't know. Should we do the red letter media thing? Should we just say what we thought of the movie before we describe it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, you go first.
I thought this movie was a goddamn slog. I thought it was totally unlikable. I utterly despise the main character.
Mm-hmm.
All of the characters that are on screen are like weird baby face frog people, so it doesn't even like look very nice. Character actions basically never line up with what the current emotional state of the character is. And also, like, there are these weird sequences where they try to animate a lot of like internalized thoughts, and then it ends up being like a bunch of weird, disparate, kind of gross facial expressions that don't look great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I was supposed to feel at any point in the movie. There's a lot of like really inappropriate and out of place things in here. Like at one point, there's like a 10-minute tangent about trains, and then one of these characters is a prostitute just because she likes stuff. I despised it. I despised this movie, and I was going into this thinking like, because you had sent me a post from somebody who was like, if anybody who likes this movie is is up their own ass or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's probably a little bit poopy pants. It's probably too deep for you. And I honestly think that this is just so painful to watch. It's just torturous.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love this movie. Yes, we finally did it.
Okay.
We finally did it, folks.
I had a feeling. I thought it would be the other way. Because you have a really strong bullshit meter that goes off way faster than mine.
Yes.
But to me, like, I'm willing to put up with a lot of shit. But how did this happen? Usually it's the other way around. I'm so confused. Okay, you loved this.
I must have related to it somehow. The first third of it is a slog. You are right. But once things start, I think like the last half, I just thought it was great. That especially. That's the funniest part is the 10-minute train segment. Like that was like my favorite part of the movie where it's just everything. He's so fucking depressed. I want to kill myself after watching the first 2/3 of this movie. And then he meets this guy and suddenly there's just a train montage and I'm feeling train nostalgia all of a sudden. I don't fucking know why, but I love it.
Look, and the thing is like, I don't mind the train nostalgia stuff. I enjoy. But I felt like I was just ripped out of the actual narrative of the movie. And I was kind of having trouble reconciling these two very disparate things going on.
Yeah, it's a weird way to just show that he's like making a friend basically, and
yes. And
enjoying something that he enjoys. But yeah, it's just like, hey, here's some fucking trains, you know?
But by that point, he was such a sad sack, and he was such a miserable fuck, and
Yeah.
and done repulsive things in a way where like I just couldn't root for him anymore. Like I wasn't even like invested in him as a character up until that point. But like there were certain things that he did that made it actively impossible
Yeah.
for me to like him.
The reason that I was able to put up with that is because I think the entire premise is that he needs to be redeemed, and that's why he's in this situation in the first place. So every time he did something like really like shitty and annoying, I would just be like, okay, well, he's supposed to be like that, because otherwise, why else would you get reincarnated? But we should probably explain what's going on in this movie.
Okay. Yeah.
No, did you have a thought to finish?
Yeah, I was just thinking that I think that they just went too far in certain places to where I no longer was able to want him to be redeemed or think that he could be. That's all. But we'll get to it.
Okay. So the movie starts out in this very dark sort of crypt place, and there's all these CG dead people walking around, and it's like first person. This little boy approaches the camera. He introduces himself. His name is Pura Pura, and he's like a little dapper, fancy boy. Big feet. I hate his big feet. I don't know why they drew his feet so big. He looks normal otherwise. It's everyone here is a spirit, and this particular spirit that we're looking at first person is first of all its dialogue is on text. You know, it like screen blacks out and you see the text of what he's saying, but he's getting placed into the body of a child who has just died, so that he can do some kind of test / redemption thing to see if he can
Before we go too far
get
away,
reincarnated. Yeah, what?
Before we get too far away, this opening sequence reminded me of like Morrowind. It reminded me of like a fucking Elder Scrolls game for some reason. Just 'cause, like there's like these jank models moving around, and then also it's in first person. He's explaining like basically the state of the character.
And I feel like a lot. I don't know. I can't name any off the top of my head, but there have to have been anime that it just starts out with like scenery and then black screen with text, dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I guess it's purgatory or whatever. So he takes an elevator down to Earth, and he gets put into the body of this junior high school boy who has just committed suicide via drug overdose, named Makoto, and he wakes up miraculously in the hospital from his parents' point of view, and he figures out who he is, and he finishes his time in the hospital, goes home, hangs out with the family a little bit. They're surprised that obviously he's acting different because he has he has no memories of the kid's life. So
and I kind of like that aspect of it where like people immediately pick up on the fact that he's a radically different person.
Yeah, totally, because he's polite, just sort of normal.
Yeah.
And then he goes up to his room after having dinner, and we get some more exposition from Pura Pura, who's going to be like his guardian angel that no one else can see, talking him through stuff. There's some of these scenes are just weirdly directed. Like this one is just weird because there's zero music. There's
a lot of that throughout this movie, though, where there's just scenes with no music, and I'm like, give me a little bit of something.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that might have been part of my issue with the pacing of the movie as well. Is like it just feels like there's times where it comes to a fucking screeching halt.
Yeah, pacing and yeah, I definitely do not like every aspect of this movie. Like it has basically no style or directing competence. Everything is super flat and muted. There's no aesthetic creativity or anything, any striking visuals. You know, it's kind of see what you see is what you get.
Sure.
But Pura lets him know that some of the things Makoto saw in the days before his death, he saw that the girl he has a crush on in school is doing Enjo Kosai, which means she's paying old dudes. She's getting paid by old dudes to fuck. And mom is getting dicked down on the side by her flamenco instructor, I think.
Yes.
So that's I don't know why he had to tell him that. Wouldn't I feel like it would have been more interesting if he organically was figuring out why this kid was depressed throughout the movie, but he just sort of lets us know those ones right off the bat.
That would have been a decent first act, huh?
Yeah, maybe instead of just telling him straight up.
Yeah, I will say though, the prostitution thing is a little far. I think it's a little ridiculous. But,
what do you mean far?
I think like based on the character that we end up meeting, it seems like a little too out of character and
you think so?
Outside the realm of credulity. But I will say the mom cheating thing is a really potent idea as far as like having to learn to move on and forgive somebody for a transgression of that severity. It is that's pretty tough stuff, and I think it's really interesting.
Oh yeah, everything I learned about this kid's life just made me go like, oh yeah, no, maybe I feel you, bro. Not that I don't think my mom has any flamenco instructors, so I think I'm good. But, and there's also some weird like, he spends more time with his family, and after he's learned these things, he starts acting depressed, and he's acting depressed. And he tried to kill himself like a week ago, but now his family's like, hey, what's up with him? You know, which you think they'd be like, yeah,
you think he's miraculously better.
Yeah, suddenly they're surprised that he's sad. You know?
Especially since they were supposed to be keeping an eye on his mental health. But
yeah.
There's one thing I have to say is that at one point during his peak of his depression, he just stays in his room for like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as he knows right now, I mean, obviously, I don't think it's a terribly guarded twist in this movie that this character is in the body. It is his own body. He's being put back into his own body. This is Makoto who's resuming control of his body.
See, that's also why I liked it, is because I'm stupid and I didn't think of that.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people with an IQ who are smarter than me, maybe IQ 71 or higher, probably would have picked up on that like instantly. I don't know if I was under or overthinking it, but I knew obviously the soul had to be someone we knew, because there was no time left in the movie to introduce us to whatever soul is inhabiting his body and elaborate on him or give him development. So I thought, okay, if I had to have guessed, I probably would have said it was one of his friends, because I would have bet, like, since it's like magical, time isn't an issue, so like maybe sometime in the future one of his friends died, and then they put his soul back in his friend's soul so that he could finally help him out.
It sounds like you're overthinking it.
Well, I wasn't thinking that during the movie, but I was trying to think of what I would have thought after I saw it, and that's probably what I would have come up with.
Time stuff was definitely in my head, but I basically immediately, as soon as he woke up, I'm like, oh, okay. Just
Jesus.
I don't know why. I'm usually not that good, but this movie triggered something inside of me where I was like hypercritical for some reason. But
damn, I'm so glad I'm stupid, so that because that moment at the end got that piano chord, I was just like, oh shit, yeah. Not that I was like super shocked, but I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's good. That's how that has to work out.
But the point I was making was that so as far as he knows, this is somebody else's life that he's entered.
Yeah.
And he has zero stakes in it. So I honestly might just piss this wife away. Might just.
But then he doesn't get reincarnated. He has to pass the test. Oh, by the way, yeah, his challenge is to figure out what his sin was in his previous life.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to. He didn't even want to go back anyway. Like when we were in the initial like kind of gray room or like the purgatory or whatever. he was just perfectly content to keep walking and go into the end of,
Yeah, but once you're
might as well.
once you're in a body and you're back on Earth, it's probably hard to actually just say, yeah, I'll die.
Yeah. Well, not just kill yourself, but instead play a whole lot of Final Fantasy 14 online.
That's what he should have done. Yeah, is he should have. He should have.
Well, wouldn't that have been interesting? I mean, in my quirky, weird version of this movie, where he's like picking stuff out of his ear constantly, and he's like really kind of strange. He's definitely like spends a solid 2 months playing nothing but like MMORPGs, and then the angel character has to tell him like, "Hey, you've got a mission," or whatever. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm on a mission right now."
Yeah, I'm level 99, bitch. I'll tell you what my fucking mission is. I gotta I gotta kill 8 rats.
Everybody's just catering to my every need because I just killed attempted to kill myself. I might as well make the most of it while I
mean,
still can.
This does have a scene that's basically the Spider-Man 3 scene where he's like, yeah, fuck it. And he buys cool sneakers and he gets spiky hair, which in Japan is about as ridiculous as like, standing on a bar table and playing the flute or whatever.
Anyway, let's get back to the movie.
Okay, so yes, now he's like sad because he's like, damn, this kid's life sucks. It's he decides to go to school. And this is when I was afraid because I was like, oh no, is it going to be really bad bullying? Ended up being not that bad. Bad meaning like just like not realistic because I hate that shit. But he's acting somewhat normal in class, which is fucking flabbergasts everyone. Another thing that bothered me a little bit, his internal monologue doesn't sound internal enough, and it confuses me.
That there were times during this movie where I'm like, is he saying that out loud?
Yeah.
Put a few more echo effects on that bitch.
You need some reverb on that bitch. Yeah. So everyone's just freaking out that he's talking at all. And then he goes to art club. It turns out kid's in art club. We meet the horror girl, and we also meet girl number 2, who is weird, autistic. I don't even know if I would say autistic. She might just be straight up retarded. This might be a special.
She is my saving grace in this movie.
I love her so much.
Every second she was on the screen.
And that's he fucking hates her, and he's so mean to her. And
it kills me. It
killed me too. But like that's the, it would have, yeah. I was like, fuck, why is he mean to her? But like he's supposed to be an unredeemed. Cursed soul, so I guess
he is going like I guess I just wasn't willing to give him that much, he's just a total unrepentant fucker.
I was just like, he better fucking fix this, and he kind of does. So by the end,
I guess it was so mean spirited for so long that it lost me. Like I need glimpses of humanity, right? Like because it doesn't really feel like there's any goodness in him until the last act.
Yeah, the last third is when you get that basically.
And then I'm like, why can't I get a glimpse of like some sort of humanity in this kid, right? Like give me a little bit of something, like an internal monologue thing where it reveals that maybe he thinks that he's being a little harsh or anything, but
that I think after you get the not really twist, but like reveal or whatever, you're like, oh, this is a 11-year-old kid. Like it's like kind of he's an asshole.
Oh, he's got zero actual morality whatsoever.
Oh yeah, no, he's nothing. But now he's
supposed to be like 13 though, or like because he's in his third year of
junior high. So oh yeah, so 13. Like fucking he's
not that I was any better. I mean, I was just a giant fuckhole until I was like.
Yeah, you get to the end. It's like, oh, okay, he's a monster, and now he's gone through this heavenly crucible that's made him slightly less of an asshole.
Okay, I mean, I guess I don't know. It's movies. So maybe
it is movies.
A little bit more out of my character, but I can understand why you would continue to follow him down this.
But. Adorable retard's name is Sano Shoko, and she's like stuttering and she's hideous, and but she was obviously invested in him or sort of friends with him before, and she's very clearly on to the fact that he's totally different, and she's pestering him about it, being like, "Why are you not doing this? You know, everything about you's wrong, you know." And he's just
Can we mention
he just
his
tells her to fuck
painting
off.
really quick?
His horse painting.
Yes. So his painting, it's kind of like I wouldn't call it an abstract piece.
No.
There's lots of like subtle gradients and stuff, and of a horse
Well, it's not finished.
underwater.
Yeah.
Or yeah. That looks like the best remix of Old Town Road. That's the one I want to listen to.
Like the some kind of like dark trance version of Old Town
Yes.
Road.
That's the joke. I'm good.
Great. Good content. So, oh god, where was I? Oh yeah, and here's where I write, I think this guy's past life error was that he just kind of sucked, and it turns out later, you know what? Not far off. Yeah, so he has these two girls, and he likes school horror a lot, but oh yeah, that's another thing that's weird, is that he knows that the hot schoolgirl is a whore, but he likes her anyways, but he hates mom whore. I don't know why. So at this point, this is when we get like, Pura Pura tells him like, hey, why don't you just have fun? So he's like, yeah. So he buys some sweet kicks. He gets some rad hair. Enjo Kosai girl is like, damn, I'm putting this on the gram. You look straight fresh.
Mm-hmm. Very hip.
Yeah. He's pelvic thrusting in public. He's putting eyeshadow on. Sam Raimi's influence will echo down the ages.
I'll never stop being mad about Spider-Man 3. I just
Being
gotta
mad?
being mad at the reception of Spider-Man 3.
That one scene's funny. The rest of it's not good, you know.
No. There's no. It's all good.
Oh, come on. Come
Dude, all
on.
this stuff with Sandman is masterful. It's masterful. There's an entire
When he's in an
3-minute
armored
sequence.
truck, like what?
He reconstitutes himself.
Yes, that's
for his
fine.
daughter.
That's good.
It's not fine. It's amazing.
They had that generic scene where he's like, I'll come back and just all you never hear for us.
But the way it's framed and the way it's delivered, masterful.
Butt ass. Who's the third? Oh yeah, Venom's in there. Come on, Venom.
That's the only part of the movie.
That's a third of the movie.
Even that set piece is good.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, and his new style, Weird Girl, is not fucking having it. She's like, this is not you. So then after that, it's Enko time. He stalks Horror Girl because she's dressed she's in her Sunday best. She's walking around, and there is a long sequence where he's following her and her escort, or she's the escort, but the salary man. He's following them way too close. Like fucking GTA mission failed. Yeah. He's the only other person on the street, and he's 10 feet behind them. But pulls a serious Chad move and just grabs her and runs the fuck away from their love hotel.
Yeah, I can't believe she does, like, they go that far. They run for so long before they stop. And like,
there's a really long running sequence. Yeah.
and like, she's never like, hold the fucking phone.
No, she likes
to go whoring.
Yeah. I'm doing my whoring.
Yeah, get it. You're interfering with my fucking game, man.
Also, gotta say, music during this sequence not great. It's like bad guitar.
It's weirdly like poppy and upbeat.
Yeah.
It's them running through the rain to escape prostitution.
Yeah, again, the style and like the artistic choices in this movie, not its strong suits at all. So then he grabs her. He's like, "Why are you doing this?" And she's like, "I want to buy stuff with my pussy." And
it
it's
seems unrealistic. It just
that really happens. I don't, that's a thing in Japan.
I guess they do have a long history of prostitution in their culture.
No, Enjo Kosai, where high school girls pay.
No. I'm saying, like, it's different.
Okay, it is different.
It'd be different over there.
Yeah, it does. It does be different. Yeah, that should have been a pretty intense, like, emotional scene, but it was just directed very boringly,
Yes.
But she's like, "Hey, you can pay me. You can buy me stuff." And he's like, "No." And he does think about it for like 20 seconds, which is, you know, you can't be alpha all the time, but
This
he
is
does
part of
she does eventually get patrolled, I will say.
this is part of the like weird facial expression things. Um,
Yeah, they're not anime faces, you know. They're going for like not realism, but like realism in the sense that they make the faces a little bit grosser by just like putting like a couple extra lines on there around the mouth, you know.
yeah, it's just that's part of the frog face stuff. They all look like the doctor from Index.
There's a little bit of frogginess going on. Yeah.
But you know, I might be you say that you were like the less intelligent one because of your inability to
It's my thing is that
suss out.
my thing is that I can't do riddles. Riddles are like riddles are always about thinking outside the box, going back to the beginning, whereas I come up with the most convoluted way of solving a conundrum or problem or whatever.
Maybe I'm the plebe because I know I'm gonna love whatever Makoto Shinkai's next movie is, even if it's like totally devoid of any substance.
I
'cause
probably
it's
will
gonna
too.
be really
I've
good.
only seen one of his movies and I liked it.
It's gonna be it's gonna look so good, and it's gonna be so pretty, and it's gonna be like the most basic shoujo plot ever.
You watched the Foot one, right?
I've seen Garden Words,
Yeah.
5 centimeters per second, Your Name, and then Voices of a Distant Star, which is barely a movie.
Children Who
But-
Chase Lost Voices?
No, that's a different thing.
Okay. Is that him? No,
Yes,
that's
of a
or
no,
is
that's
that okay.
no, that's him. It's Voices of a Distant Star. No, what am I thinking of? No, I saw. He made this movie that's basically a non-movie.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, the short version of Voices of a Distant Star I have seen, which is like just basically the idea of time dilation,
Huh.
but for a short period of time, whatever.
Interesting. So then yeah, he patrols her and then he goes for the fucking twofer, which even Puru Puru or whatever at that point is just like in his head, like, dude, stop. you can't patrol this much in one day. Stop
Yes.
it. So yeah, he goes after his mom and is like, how's that flamenco dick taste, you cunt? That's what my sub said. I don't know about yours, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, this stuff works. Like, for whatever reason, like, the mom stuff works to me. It's really harsh, and I think I would follow him down that. But,
yeah, seeing moms cry, but then also, she, you know, but
she's
then
so
but then
subservient.
also,
Like, it's-
yeah, she's just a sad mom trying to help him, but then also she's cheating, but then also her husband's never there, and it just, you know, it just sucks.
That's really tough to watch, and like, I think that works. But like, there are other aspects of this movie that just don't. They make him completely irredeemable to me. Like the next scene, I think.
I guess I feel you. Yeah, so he runs away from home, hangs out by a shrine, and gets beaten up by shrine thugs. They steal his kicks.
Speaking of things that I don't buy, I don't buy it.
You don't think that Japanese thugs would steal kicks?
I don't think that this kid in the middle of the suburbs is going to get accosted by thugs who will steal his shoes. No.
Yeah, I mean that's a weird plot device.
That's just very Japan of me. Like not of me. Very very Japan where like this is what thugs are like. But I'm like no, it's not. You don't have those. You don't have real thugs.
Yeah, yeah, probably not. At least not at shrines. Why are they hanging out by a shrine? I don't know. So he got the shit kicked out of him. He's covered in bandages. Let me get the picture up of him in bandages. There you go. Weird girl visits him in his house, and she's talking more about how weird he is. And he asks her what he used to be like, and she says how like quietly contemplative he was, and he just whips out his porn and is like, you know, there's no one like that. He's, you know, I'm just a horny lad. And then he forcibly mounts her and tells her she's ugly as shit.
You could do she's ugly, but just this scene was so extreme that I this is where I was officially tapped out. I couldn't like him anymore. And it's not like I even have a super strong like, oh, rape star, you know what I mean? But I just thought that this scene was particularly mean spirited, and like you could have just done tell her she's ugly so she leaves, you know what I mean? And then that's like an opportunity to reveal a little bit of humanity where he's like, oh, you know, maybe there's a bit far or whatever. But this was just really tough for me, and I kind of just stopped trying to like the movie at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't like him, but that was sort of orthogonal to my opinion of the movie, because like he's basically supposed to be like, I mean, I was just sort of thinking of me as a 13-year-old, and I'm like, fuck, yeah, man. I mean, I never mounted anyone.
Well, I guess the thing for me is that you can have a character that is a complete motherfucker, but is still somebody you're rooting for. And like the movie Shame, it's a Steve McQueen movie, which is about like sex and porn addiction.
Right. Yeah.
Is a great example of this, where the main character is technically a lascivious motherfucker, and he's not even like particularly charismatic, but you feel the pain of the character. Whereas I feel like this is entirely externalized. Like there's never a point where I feel like I'm feeling with the character. I'm just feeling what the character is doing to other people. And that's the problem for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I wasn't I guess I just wasn't trying to empathize with him anymore, because at this point I just said like, yeah, this kid's just, or this guy, whoever, you know, is the soul is just kind of a bully, and he's a weird asshole. And I was just waiting, like, is he gonna learn? Is he gonna get better? And I think he kind of did, you know. At least that's supposed to be.
Honestly, like I guess that's just a hallmark of an interesting piece of media, right?
Yeah. I also just wonder if this, like, maybe this was just like almost like a poor interpretation of what was in the book. Like maybe in the book, you know, it was supposed to be like he actually like was attracted to her, and then like at the last second was like just like he chickened out and just said, you know, you're ugly, and then stopped or something because he was embarrassed.
Like, yeah, that's a very good point.
It could be something like that.
Monologue would do a lot more. You know what I mean? Like an omniscient narrator saying like, you know, it's just the desire to have power over something. You know what I mean? Like that. Those are things that just can't be conveyed visually, unfortunately, or at least weren't conveyed visually here. And I guess I have forgiven characters in books for much worse things than that. And it's either a limitation of the medium or a limitation of the director's capabilities, to where if those things existed in the book, they were not on screen for me here. But yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, we got more chatters. Trent Brown says the worst. Yeah, shrine thugs pray in the shrine, beat up in the street. We can do better than that. There's got to be something that rhymes with. Okay, let's see. Beat in the street is good. What rhymes with shrine?
Crime.
Crime in the shrine, beat in the street. There you go.
There you go. I guess I don't know.
It's the shrine thug motto.
You just scolded him. You scolded him for not having a great example, and then you just yourself provided an even worse one.
At least mine rhymed. Look, we're dedicated to good content here. This is friendly. This is constructive criticism. We're making all of our friends better. This is a self-help community. I don't know if you know this. This is a mental health seminar. Guys. Yeah, we're gonna make it. That's what this movie's about. We're all gonna make it, fam.
We're gonna lift each other up.
Yes.
We're gonna get through.
Buy my creatine.
Shrine thugs in disharmony. Thank you.
I don't get it. So yes. And this, yeah, at this point, I do write, well, this movie is certainly making me want to kill myself. Which I was enjoying, I guess, because it was just, I don't know why. I guess I'm just goth now. I'm still in my goth arc. But
I had a friend who told me that Linkin Park was emo the other day, and I threw fists.
I mean, I bet a lot of kids who called themselves emo listen to Linkin Park.
There's a Venn diagram there for sure, but you know where there's overlap of those two things. But Linkin Park itself is not emo.
All right. No, I would agree with that.
I'll throw fists.
Yeah, but this is the low point of the film where it's just like this kid's life sucks. I'm a piece of shit. Nothing's going well. If he doesn't complete his challenge, his soul is gonna dissolve or whatever, and Makoto actually will die. And this is when I started thinking, why did Puri Puri or whatever tell him all those things at the beginning? Like, wouldn't it have been more interesting if he had organically found out all this stuff about Makoto's life? Anyways,
also that fucker disappears. He's gone for like a good 45 minutes here or whatever.
yeah, he leaves him to figure things out. But this is when big comeback, baby. It's time to it's time for what's the opposite of it? I don't know. It's turning things around because he meets Train Guy in a train station, and they get to talking. And guy just starts talking about trains, and yeah, they're walking, and it just keeps cutting to these sort of Photoshop filtered photographs of trains and Japanese landscapes from the 20th century. And I was like, what the fuck? My two emotions were, why the fuck are you doing this? And holy shit, I love this. Like, not
just trains,
I was
but
just
trolleys.
like, yeah, I just want to he's like, don't you just want to ride on these old trolleys through the countryside? And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, I just met, like, totally.
I'm pretty sure heaven is just drinking beer and reading books on a train in Japan.
Yeah.
That was the best shit ever.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. I feel like you might get some bad looks if you drink beer on a train in Japan.
Well, it was on the Shinkansen, but whatever.
Oh yeah.
You know what I was thinking about was the train, like the decommissioned train that we got to see in Kyoto. It was Kyoto, right? Pretty sure.
Yes, that was in Kyoto Park. You can go into an old train.
That was like heavenly. Because there's all these fucking kids running around having a great time, and then there's like young couples.
There's couples in the middle of this park field holding hands, and you can walk this trail. And there's a big locomotive like spurting like black smoke with people on it going like chewing behind you in this on this track. And goddamn,
it was another place. That's probably the most serene vision that I can recall from my time in Japan was like just walking through Kyoto Park, which was just a couple blocks away from where we were staying. Lovely.
What was I talking about? Okay, so yes, he's hanging out with Train Guy. Things are finally looking up. And then they start being buds. Oh, the other thing that we didn't establish about Makoto is that even though like you'd think based on everyone's description of him that he's like sort of a tortured weird nerd genius, but he's really fucking stupid. Is kind of what's interesting about him is his grades are terrible. He's like bottom of his class.
To the degree where it's not just like you're not applying yourself, like you got to be actually kind of dumb.
Yeah, no, he's just dumb. He can barely get into a high school, But so yeah, him and Train Guy are bonding over trains and how fucking stupid they are. And they're bike riding, and they go into a sneaker shop, buy more kicks. Then there's a scene where he goes fishing with his pops. And that's when he starts to sort of ease up on these tensions he has in his family, because he starts to suspect like, his dad probably knows about his mom's affair, and maybe he kind of understands it, and that angst he has seems like it kind of eases up a little bit. And then I guess we do kind of resolve all of his problems very quickly here with one conversation with each character. He talks to School Whore for a bit, and she's upset because of how fucked up she is, and he's like, that's okay. And then
that scene in particular I found to be pretty laughable. Like there's like a song going on in the background.
It's a weird quick
and now he's like super wise. Like now he's gonna fucking talk this girl down. I don't think so.
But that's you don't know it yet. But that's him. He is coming back out. His real personality. Because at the end of these scenes, Weird Girl says, "Hey, you're finally back to normal," right? So like his normal Makoto might sort of be poking out, might be sort of turtle head, and at that
I
point,
guess it was the jarring, kind of transition there. I don't know.
but then the climax here is his family sits him down and tells him that he's had an older brother this whole time. An older brother is a smarty pants. He's going to some fancy school, but at the dinner table they tell him that his brother is going to put off taking his entrance exam, I guess college entrance exam, for a year, so that he can go to like this art school for like almost remedial art school for artists that's somewhat expensive.
That's literally an exact plot line that occurs in Friday Night Lights, by the way.
Amazing. That's fucking, it's all back around. Every time is a flat ass circle.
Listen to me. You're gonna go to that art school.
You're gonna fuck that
You're gonna
retarded
get the
girl
best-
in your class. I don't
Hey,
care
you
how
know what?
ugly she is. I don't care if she keeps her glasses on or off. I don't care if she wants it. I do not care if she does not want it.
All I know is that I will be taking my glasses off because I can't stand to look at her.
I want you to make beautiful brown IQ 63 babies with that retarded girl in your class. With
Look,
that
we're
Tourette's
aiming-
girl.
We're aiming to go so low on the IQ scale that we wrap back around. We're
Not a lot of people know this, man. Universal simulation, IQ is a 64-bit integer. You go down below 0, you wrap back around, you're like 2 billion or something, man. You're like 8 billion,
Lucy.
8 billion
Lucy
IQ.
too.
You become everywhere. I've seen this movie, Luc Besson, Lucy 2013. Look it up. Play football.
It's a damn shame they interfered with his movie Leon the Professional. That underage sex scene would have been just beautiful. They made love and it was beautiful.
There wasn't an underage sex scene in the movie.
There isn't a screenplay. It's gone.
Well, 'cause she was 18 in the screenplay. That's why they got rid of it.
In the screenplay.
No, and then she was originally like 18, and that's why they removed the scene, is because they changed it to be a little girl. I know this, I think.
Damn. Well, according to the, I don't know. Don't worry about it.
According to fucking screenpuke.com, they're all screen noun. They're all screen gross noun.
Moviepoopshoot.com.
Movieass.biz.
Speaking of movie ass, holy fuck.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god. I have a soft spot for Mr. Kevin Smith.
I've heard. Wait, who?
I like him.
Who are you talking about?
Mr. Kevin Smith.
I don't know.
You might know him as having directed Clerks, Chasing
No, I'm
Amy,
not really. What's his name? Is it just Kevin Smith?
It's a bit of a generic name.
Okay, we used to have a joke about you would say who, and then you would say writer director Kevin Smith. That was the. Can't believe you've forgotten our thing, man. What the fuck? You move away.
You'll understand why.
Okay.
You'll understand. I have seen the trailer for Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
I watched that too. Now I don't know the quality of those previous films.
Oh my lord!
If I smoked weed, I would probably watch that trailer and be like, "All right, yeah."
No, you can't smoke it. There's not enough weed on the planet to make me watch that. I was repulsed. I had to stop. I had to stop watching the trailer. It hurt me so much to watch.
Is it really that much of a difference from those previous movies?
At least the other movies had a budget.
Oh, well.
Now he's filming with whatever people he's able to scrape together to make a movie.
So
and it's very painful.
The first in this series was Mallrats. The characters were in Clerks, but the Mallrats was the first one with them, and then there was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And then I assume they've been in all his other movies.
This is in the Mallrats universe, but also those universes intersect in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So you do have characters playing multiple versions of themselves across different universes. It doesn't really matter. It's this universe.
Is Mallrats a Jay and Silent Bob movie, or are they also side characters in that?
There are side characters in it. They have a little bit more to do, but they are side characters.
Gotcha.
I think they really hit their stride in Chasing Amy. But anyway, it hurts me so much. But worse than that, this was a 1-2 punch, because before that was released, there was a trailer released for the movie that Jay directed, because Jay of Jay and Silent Bob fame, Jason Mewes, directed his own movie called what the fuck is it? Madness in the Method, which is a movie starring himself and Kevin Smith, in which it's him playing himself in real life, and he learns to method act or something. And the trailer is actually physically painful to watch. It hurts me. It hurts me.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the Jay and Silent Bob trailer. I liked it when the guy said, "This son of a bitch has no dick." I like that. We should tell a story about when we were camping. You said something to me, and I was so sure that it was a line from a Kevin Smith movie that I just straight up asked you, like, "What is that from?" And you were like, "No, I really said that."
What was this?
You remember this? Okay, so let me set the scene. We're in the woods. We've just finished our first night. We wake up. We're in the cabin. We're making breakfast. And you're like whipping up some pancake batter, and you walk over to me and you go, "Have you seen that video of that girl scrambling eggs in her asshole?" And I go, "What is that? Is that a line from something?" You're like, "No, that's a real video." Right. And I was like, how is that not a Kevin Smith movie line?
It'll be in the reboot.
Because I can picture the whole conversation, like, what? How do you scramble eggs in your asshole? And there's no way an asshole can get that hot, you know?
Well, okay, so there's a beating the eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like a confusion, and then they get into the semantics of beating versus scrambling, and also whether or not that was her asshole in the first place.
You see that video of that lady scrambling eggs in her asshole? Okay, back to the movie.
Ah, shit.
Movie time. Okay. So he's hanging out with Train Guy, and his family. Right. So, his family offers to do this really nice thing for him, but he can't do it because he wants to go to this private.
It's a public school. It's a public school.
No,
public school.
No, they talk about in the subs I had. They keep acting like the public schools are the good one, but he's only going to be able to get to a private school. I thought it was the opposite in Japan.
No.
Okay,
no.
Mine were just wrong then.
What it is that the other friend character can only get into a public school, and his family cannot pay for a private school.
Okay.
So, main character Makoto wants to go to a public school with his friend.
Yeah. So, him and his friend both want to go to this, like, kind of shitty, but they still have to study a bunch together to get into it, school together. And he can't, so he can't go through with going to the art school. And did you at least like this scene? I mean, come on. It was so powerful. He refuses this really, really nice thing. Like this whole movie, I feel like this captured a really specific part of being like this age, which is like everyone is trying to help you out and be so nice to you, and you're just an asshole all the time, and like you can't help it.
This scene is effective and good, but this is not a joke. This scene just occurred in Friday Night Lights. Actually, that is every arc. That is every arc for every character in the third season where they're writing a whole bunch of
Taylor
show.
Kitsch is crying, being like, "He's my only friend. I just want to go to school with him. I'm sorry."
Actually, Taylor Kitsch's girlfriend wants to go to school with him, but then her father makes her go to a better school because she can get into a way better school.
I gotcha.
And then also, Tim Riggins, he opts to not go to college at all because college isn't for him in the first place. So it's a lot of analogs between Friday Night Lights here. It's handled better in Friday Night.
You're just gonna see everything in Friday Night Lights terms for the next month or two.
I have heard more of Kyle Chandler's sweet, sweet, sultry voice in the past 7 days than I've heard of my own mother's for the past 3 years.
Nice. But I like that scene a lot because it's just like he's just been angsty and a jerk to these people this whole movie, and and they're still just trying to help him, and he feels terrible, and he breaks down. But they accept his decision because he explains about how he finally made a friend, and that's kind of the climax. And then finally, he has one last talk with Weird Girl, who says that hey, you're finally back to your normal self, and that's probably when it should have clicked for me. But once again, I'm just right over me. So Piparu Pamu calls him up to the roof.
Pompoko.
Yeah, Pamu Kyoru Pamu calls him up to the roof, and says like, all right, it's time. Cough it up. You gotta explain what you did in your past life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we get, oh my God, he is Makoto. He killed himself. That was his thing. Oh my gosh. It got, I was like, okay. Yeah, I should have got that, but it was still good. I liked it.
No, that's yeah. No, I your explanation of why you have enjoyed this movie makes complete sense to me. Like,
okay.
I it just seems like a difference in taste, and not
well,
like
at least we finally have one.
yeah. I just I guess we got different things out of it, and we're willing to give the movie different amounts of leeway. And I honestly, if you had asked me yesterday, it's like, you guys are going to disagree on this movie. Who likes it and who hates it? I mean, like, I'm going to like it and he's going to hate it. And expectations subverted.
Yeah, it broke new ground. And then the last scene is him and his bud, and he's wearing this coat that his mom got for him that he wasn't wearing earlier, and now he's wearing it. And they're hanging out on this bridge and laughing, and Poco Raton sends him a text message saying,
Pilot hits him up.
Yeah. Pecorino shoots him a text and says, "Are you alive?" And he looks out over the bridge and he's like, "I am alive." And I was like, "Fuck, man, damn."
I thought the flashback stuff of him that basically explains to the audience, like, this is the sequence of events, was superfluous.
Yeah,
and then,
didn't need that really. If there was directorial competence, it could have been like a really intense, like, everything's coming back to me, like my whole life's flashing before me, all my memories are returning. But instead, it's just like, here's a bunch of stuff you already know. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it just comes down to me thinking that a lot of these ideas are strong and they just could have been done differently. I think
that's true.
Like, by the point he gets that text message, I'm already so removed and just kind of disliking the movie to where I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Don't send him that text. Don't
I am everywhere.
Send him the message, big pimpin'. Stay away.
I mean, I did like basically a 180 on this movie. I think that second half just got me good, fam.
I thought I was gonna like the movie the second we met the Shoko or whatever her name is, but she was my guiding light throughout this. She was what kept me going.
You don't have enough train autism.
No.
I have eternal respect for the train autists.
Yes.
So, yeah. Also, you know what I probably should have. Another thing I should have picked up on. These are all live action voice actors. These aren't anime voice actors. These are actors, which is why they all sound not anime. Again, this is barely anime. This is so it's acted somewhat. Again, another thing that's kind of muted in this movie. So I don't know. There's that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. We disagreed. Holy shit. People said we couldn't do it.
We finally did it. And you know what that means? Now we have to duel.
Uh-huh.
With guns.
Uh-huh.
So
I think that
stay tuned for that.
We have to watch more stuff that we both like because we have to patch up this fractured friendship.
Yeah, now we have to bridge the divide.
Yeah.
Hashtag bridge the divide 2020. We're going to finally mend this.
I mean, people said that I mean, this is the last bastion of unity that exists in this world. Is us always liking the same shit. But now there's nothing to hang on to. The election cycle's coming around. Climate change is rampant, and it seems like there's no hope left. But together, I'm sure we'll be able to settle our differences and overcome.
We will be able to colorful. Oh. Yeah, we just gotta.
Sorry, I can't laugh at that joke. I don't find you funny now.
Oh, that fucking. Well, fuck you, buddy. Yeah, we just gotta watch more. I guess like weird family dramas. I guess because that'll get us real fisticuffs action.
You know, it makes me want to do fisticuffs.
Oh.
Hobbs and Shaw. We got to see it, man.
I don't want to see it. I don't know if I don't think it'll be good.
Oh, you see the robot motorcycles?
When's that movie with Will Smith coming out where he has to kill his clone, his young clone?
Yo,
because that looked like amazing schlock.
That's wild,
dude. The dialogue is almost like that. It's like if what was the line? What was the?
Know the real you, but I am the one that knows the you that you are.
No, what? Oh, what's the line in that trailer? He goes like, "You used a person to make another person," or something like that. It looks incredible. It could be Lucy level if what's in that trailer is
thank you,
indicative
Lee.
of what's
Thank
in
you.
There. Is that him?
Yes.
Thanks, Ong. Okay, how you liking your new place? I didn't ask you that.
This is bad timing. I have to pee really bad.
Okay, well, fine. We'll just end the episode. No, we're done. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. The place is good. In case anybody was wondering, not to leave you guys in suspense.
Great. Glad to hear it. All right. I guess I'll take us out then. Did you have any songs that you wanted us to be taken out on? Because right now I just have Terry Davis singing along to a street guitar player very poorly because I love Terry. I was thinking about Terry again recently, as I do most days.
Sounds like a good thing to go out on.
All right. Well, we'll catch you guys on the flip flop. Keep it colorful. All right. You go pee, buddy.
I gotta pee.
See ya.
I have seen the sun. Huck Finn had the fun. Phone book.
This isn't gonna get us copyright stricken.
I have seen the sun. Huck Finn had the fun. But shit, keep going. Ready? I have seen the sun. Huck Finn had the fun. I'm hit, BB gun. Go, dogs, go. Phone book, unaware. High tree, higher chair. Still talk, Philly mare. Go, dogs, go. Roll in, down and out. Fairground, scream and shout. Axle out. Go. Dogs, go. Let's keep going. I have seen the sun. Huck Finn had the fun. I'm hit, BB gun. Go. Dogs, go. Phone book, unaware. High tree, higher chair. Filler mare. Go, dogs, go. Keep going. Roll in, down and out. Fairground, scream and shout. Axle out. Go, dogs, go. Keep going. Here, finally, it was the final one. Ready? I have seen the sun. Huck Finn had the fun. I'm hit, BB gun. Go, dogs, go. High tree, higher chair. Phone book, unaware. Still talk, Philly mare. Go, dogs, go. Roll in, down and out. Fairground, scream and shout. Axle out. Go, dogs, go.